Hello there, this is Chris with Peace of Mind Art and Crafts. Today I'm going to show you how to make a slow stitched roll that you can put on a wooden spool. You can either display it that way and just keep it intact, or you can save it and cut it off for various projects. Basically, these are rolls that I had made using cardboard, and the inner part is covered with paper, but that was a wax paper roll, or if you want an even thinner one, you can use a aluminum foil roll. You can make them smaller, you can make them bigger, however, whatever size you want to make them. I will link my video on how to make these to this down below in the description box. But today we're going to work on the thing that's going to fill them. It's going to be a snip. It's going to be a slow stitch roll. We're going to start with a piece of muslin, and when you get it finished, then you can wrap it around. Of course, it will be thicker. You can wrap it around your roll here and save it, or you can make your spool the exact size of the width of this, which probably will be about 3 inches when it's finished, because it will have some overhang on it. So if you made your spool only 3 inches, then you could just wrap it straight around. Here is one that has this is just a snippet roll. It's not a slow, there's no slow stitching on it. And you can make them like these also. I have videos on these. This is a wider one that I have cut up and used quite a bit of it. I just have this small piece left. And then it wraps around, and you save it for when you need it for whatever journal you may be making. They can be you can just stick the pin right in there down into the cardboard roll to hold it in place. And looks like I'm catching my threads on everything. Let me show you one of the applications that you can use these for. This is a slow stitched roll that I did a while ago. This journal is my idea journal that I have for. I've showed this on the channel as well, and I've incorporated all the different ideas that I've gained from watching YouTube videos, and also the ones that are my ideas, etc., etc. And so this is kind of my own little personal book. But here is a roll going across here used as a pocket. This is all one piece. You could cut it up and use it individually for pockets on individual pages. As you can see, it has slow stitching on it. It has fabric. Here's some ribbon. Some more ribbon here. Slow stitching, French knots, daisies. And here's a flower bouquet that was slow stitched. Here's a little bunny, metal bunny that I glued down. And you can make these slow stitch rolls basically the same as a snippet roll, only you're using fabrics instead of any paper, and you're using embroidery in it. As you know, a snippet roll, we usually use paper. You can use fabric in the snippet rolls, but usually there isn't any embroidery on it or slow stitching. Now, if you don't do slow stitching, then you can use this in the same way, this video in the same way, and just use it to make a regular fabric roll that uses different fabrics and ribbons and so on, and laces. Okay, so I'll put that aside for now. Excuse me, need some water. what I have done is I have purchased some muslin, and when you get your muslin, get at least a yard. I got a couple of yards because it was on sale at Joann's, so it'll probably last me a little while. And what I did was, I don't get real expensive muslin. I just get, $2.99, $3.99 a yard, and then I use a coupon on it usually. Really, the thinner it is, the better if you're going to be slow stitching on it, because it's hard to put two pieces of fabric together and then sew them. It gets, if it's too thick, it gets a lot harder on your hands. Now, we've talked about my hands, how I have the neuropathy, the numbness in my fingers, but I'm hoping that it's going away slightly so that I can continue on with my slow stitching. Everything, talk about slow. I am slow with the slow stitching, but I still have been able to do it a bit. So the way we start out, I'll show you my my slow stitching box. These are some that I have recently finished and that I'm going to do some things with. But basically in my box I have my current project. I have a bag of backing paper that I want to, or backing fabrics that I want to use, and I have some beads, some scissors, and then lots of different embroidery floss. As you can see, I'm not real neat about this because I'm not really worried about that much, just so it's all in one little bucket. And then also I have downstairs where I do my slow stitching, I have some bags of fabric and laces that I choose from when I'm starting a slow stitch. Okay, so let's go on from there. I'll put that to the side in case I need the needle and thread. You can start anywhere on your slow stitch. You can make it any length you want. If you get to the end of it and you think, I want to make that longer, all you have to do is just join another one to it. Join another strip to it and keep going. Okay, if you wanted to make it a slow stitch to wrap around a smaller spool, you might want to make it smaller than this 2.5 inches and make it maybe 1.5 inches so that it could go all the way around the spool, and then you would just save it, for display, especially if you have some of those old-fashioned wooden spools that are really cool. And I've seen people do that. Also, as we go along, I will tell you that I will have, for those of you who are new to slow stitching and want to make one of these, I will have a kit in my Etsy shop where it will include, as do my other kits now, it will include the piece of backing fabric, which would be the 30-inch, the yard-long piece of muslin, which I have here. It would be cut to 2.5 inches, and it will include the backing fabric and a bunch of fabrics and laces and so on for you to use, and also some trinkets, some charms, and some floss, the things that you will need, and then you can fill in with what you have at home with the kit. For those of you that already have a lot of leftover fabrics and charms and so on, I have been doing journaling for a while, you probably can just do your own thing. So the first thing I want to do is to show you how to get started. Before you start stitching, you need to put some fabrics down that you're going to stitch around. Now, it does not really matter how these fabrics go on. You will be, and it doesn't matter, like I said, it doesn't matter where you start, where you finish. And it also doesn't matter if whatever you've got going on overlaps the 2.5 inches. I start with a glue stick. I'm going to mostly be sewing these down with a slow stitch, but some parts of it might not have stitching on it. I can go back in later with a art glitter glue is what I'm getting at. Art glitter glue dries clear. But I'm going to wait till after I'm finished with either with the whole thing or with an area before I start gluing edges down, because they may be covered by the slow stitch. The glue stick is good for just putting things down so you don't have pins in there. Sometimes pins can really get in your way, and you get stuck with one or whatever, and then that doesn't feel so great. So, this glue will dry just flat, so you don't have to, it won't stick down really great to adhere fabric to fabric, but it will just hold it there. It's tacky there enough to hold it there while you stitch. So that's why I use that glue. So I'm going to, this is a piece of kind of a linen. It probably was an originally a part of a tablecloth or a runner or something like that, and I really like that. I'm gonna put that down. Okay, I kind of like this lettering on the fabric, so I want that to show through a bit. Now you can overlap and layer up these fabrics. That's good. This glue is disappearing purple, so it will disappear when it's dry. This purple that's peeking through there. Okay, and just here's a couple of slow stitch little tiny pieces that I have completed that I might want to put on my runner or roll. Kind of audition where you might want them. You can also sew and do things over the top of these. Here's some lace. I don't know if I want that white there or not, since I have the white on the other side. Yeah, I will. I kind of like that. Okay, so I'm going to just put a little bit of glue here. And notice how I'm overlapping on here on the bottom part. And where I first learned how to do this was on Rachel at Roxy Creations on her channel. She does a lot of stitchery in general, and then she also does a lot of slow stitch. And so that's where I saw my first slow stitch rows on her channel. So if you want to get some ideas, you can go over there. Okay, so that's just a slow stitch that I already did, so that saves me from having to do too much slow stitching around on there. I'm just going to continue on. Like I said, you can do this in any colors you want. I'm just kind of doing it in general colors because I'm probably going to use it, cut it up, and use it on for pockets and so on. I really love this print. So I think I'm going to use it. Cut it off here. And I like these little roses peeking out over there, so I'm going to save those as well. I hope you guys are all well, enjoying your summer. It's nice to be able to go out and about. I'm still not going any really crowded places or anything. Even though I'm vaccinated, I chose to be vaccinated basically because of my age and because I feel safer. But I probably won't go to any sporting events or anything like that. So, not that I did that much in the past. Okay. And you can here's some little snippets of fabric that I printed on, and what I did was I just took small pieces of basically muslin and stamped on it. So I kind of like those. Put one of those on there, and it doesn't have to be straight either. You can tilt things and make them look a little bit more. I don't know, I just like things that aren't all super straight. Okay, and then you kind of just keep going. Here's a roll, or actually, yeah, a roll that I did. I just took a roll of the muslin, same as here, and I printed on it I stamped on it with my stamps. And some parts you can see don't turn out that well. You can just kind of skip those and just cut off the ones that you really want to use on various projects. These make nice little centers for an embellishment, for example. Just maybe have a tag and then have a piece of lace and then go from there and build it up. Okay, here's another snippet that I made for use on here. I think I'll put that there. Now if you find that this glue isn't holding your things well enough while you're actually maybe working on it, then you can put a little pin in there, and that helps you. Okay, so we'll go on from there later. I might continue this video, I'm not sure yet. I most probably will have a part 2. Okay. Here's some little charms and trinkets that I picked out. These are some beads. I'll show you that also. I put the beads on there. Here's some more fabrics that I've picked out to use. Maybe a butterfly. Okay, let's start and get a little bit of slow stitching on here. Might not have time to do too much if I'm just doing a short video here, and then I'll do another video. I do use a larger eyed needle for this. Of course, you need a pointed end. Don't use a tapestry needle or anything, because you need a pointed end to be able to puncture the fabric. And then, okay, let's start out with some green. Okay, I'm going to cut a piece of thread off. And how long you want your thread is kind of your own decision. Also, how many strands you want to use. I think I'll use, since I have this wider eyed needle available right now, I think I will use the all 6 strands. I don't know if I'm on camera doing this or not. There we go. Take a knot. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some flowers along here. So I'm going to start and make the stems. So I just put it in, I pull it on the back. I don't worry about my back. Now if you are going to make this into a roll that you're going to save, at the end then you can put on another strip of muslin, either just glue it on or actually sew it on at the end when you're all finished with your stitching. Okay, so let's make these stems, and I'm going to make them varying lengths. Let me turn this way, you probably can see it a little bit better. They don't necessarily have to be straight, they can be a little, because they're made to look like flower stems. Make some long, some shorter. Some closer together, some farther apart. And when I get finished with these, I'm just going to make little French knots along the top of all these different stems. I most likely will use I've got a pastel colored embroidery floss that's different pastels of pinks and blues and so on. So and it changes, it's like an ombre, it changes. So I'll be able to get kind of different effects as I go, different colors for these flowers. If I wanted to, I could put leaves on these as well, but since they're so small, I don't think I will. Okay, I'm gonna turn one just a little bit so you can see how they all don't have to be straight. It's kind of like they're coming up in a garden. I love this linen. It's so pretty. It's old, so it's kind of coming apart a little bit. Okay, so I have those stems finished. So then I'm going to put the French knots on there. So what I'm going to do is, instead of ending off, is I'm going to just probably come up here and I'm going to use this. You should try to strand not too much, but since you're going to be covering over the back, I don't worry about it. And then I'm going to come this way and make my slow stitch along here. Okay, I'll just keep going in and out, in and out. You can only do one at a time, that's fine. And then I'm going to continue on with that slow stitch. So, I hope you all enjoyed this so far, and well, stay tuned for the second part of this, for the slow stitched roll. And I wish you peace of mind. Take care. Bye for now.